Good afternoon and welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios. I'm your host, Olivia Cruson.
I'm your host, Patrick McGuigan.
And I'm your host, Sean O'Carroll. Today we're going to be sharing the work of some of the remarkable people that make up the broader Purchase College community.
Joy Cioccia-Levy is an adjunct professor at SUNY Purchase, teaching media literacy. With over a decade of teaching experience and a background as a producer for ABC's 2020, Joy brings storytelling and critical thinking to every lesson. But her true passion lies at the intersection of education and movement in figure skating. She teaches with wisdom in the classroom and with spin, slide, and a whole lot of joy on the ice. She's someone who knows how to instruct and land every lesson with grace.
I started to skate when I was 12 years old when Dorothy Hamill won the gold medal in the 1976 Olympics at Innsbruck, Austria. I fell in love with her, so I said to my mom, I want ice skating lessons. And then the minute I tried it, I fell in love with ice skating. But then I realized that having a full-time job and skating wasn't gonna work. So I quit skating to have a full-time career in television. And I was working at ABC News 2020 at the time of the whole Nancy Kerrigan, Tonya Harding debacle. And knowing that I could skate, 2020 sent me to Portland, Oregon to cover Tonya Harding. And I hadn't been skating for many, many years. But I put my skates on. That moment made me want to skate again. So I ended up starting to skate again as an adult. And that just began my skating journey all over again. So the rink in Westchester opened in 1996, which coincided with the year that my daughter was born. So I was on maternity leave. I had time. I had a babysitter, so I started coaching at the Westchester Skating Academy in Elmsford, New York. And I loved it. I loved passing on my love for the sport to other people. I worked 3 days in the city as a television journalist and 2 days in Westchester as an ice skating instructor. So I always knew someday I wanted to go into academics. So actually, one of my skating students worked for Westchester Community College, and she hooked me up with the department chair of the communications department at Westchester Community College. And I went and had an interview, and they hired me. So I ended up having this great career as an adjunct faculty member and still skating. Just recently, I got a job at SUNY Purchase College teaching media literacy. But I really enjoy giving back my love of the sport to my students. So it's really fulfilling. And even though I'm getting up there in age, I still try to get a few tricks out on the ice from now and again.
Running can be as much about mindset as it is about miles. For senior Alex Carbrough, captain of the cross-country team, the sport has become a way to challenge himself while helping push others to be their best. Whether it's keeping teammates motivated through tough workouts or setting the tone for the team, Alex embraces the responsibility that comes with leading the program. As he heads toward his final season this fall, he reflects on what running means to him, what he enjoys most about the sport, and the advice he'd give to someone just getting started.
I try to lead by example, try to be in practice on time. Before a race, we'll give a speech and do a little chant. That helps with morale and just reminding everybody of what we've been working for. But honestly, most of it comes from the athletes themselves. It's not fun waking up early in the morning for like 3 months to go run. So anybody who can do that has a lot of motivation that I cannot take credit for. What do I enjoy about running? I think everybody needs to do something difficult in their life. It's a love-hate relationship. Many days I do not enjoy running, and I really believe in pursuits where you're your own limiting factor and taking responsibility for what you have control of. I find it's very freeing, weirdly enough, to take responsibility. If you take responsibility for only what you have control over and don't let yourself be a limiting factor, I'm always amazed of how far you can go. As a member of cross country, I think conference championships are really great. We usually peak around then, and it's usually on a fast course. So it's kind of the payoff to all of the work, but also it's the payoff to your teammates, and getting to see them improve has also been great as a captain. Seeing you have a really good race. You got your pacing down like almost perfectly. And I know how great that feels to get that sorted out. My coach, he talks about how he can get a vicarious feeling through us. And I can relate to that a lot as a captain, seeing you guys improve. We have a coach who's very accommodating. We have a very small team, so if you have never ran in your life, he'll help you through that. I think a lot of people, when they hear college running, get very intimidated. They think scholarships and you get cut if you're not good enough. That is not the Purchase experience. We've had crazy runners, some people with 11 years of experience behind them, but we've also had people who have never ran in their life before. I won't lie, it's a difficult thing to do, showing up every day. But if you're willing to do that, just show up. We're willing to have you.
Every week, coffee shops go through dozens of burlap sacks that once carried beans from across the world. Most of them sitting around shops, taking up space until their scheduled trash pickup. But one Westchester crafter saw an opportunity. By partnering with local coffee shops across the county, she's given these sacks a new purpose, transforming them into new everyday items. It's a creative mix of craftsmanship, community, and sustainability. I sat down with Sarah Drucker to talk about her story for National Craft Month.
My name is Sarah Drucker. I go by Caffeina Crafts on Instagram, and what I do is I upcycle coffee bean burlap sacks into finished products. So the way we got started with all of this was after I got injured, I came back home and I always loved gardening, and we needed to make gardening more approachable and easier to manage and softer. So I started reaching out to local coffee shops to source burlap sacks for us to use. It all started with just laying the burlap on the ground as a way to keep the weeds away and to make the garden softer. After doing this for a bit, one of the roasters turned to me and said how their customers wanted to know what was happening to these burlap sacks. So the roaster called me into his office and we spoke, and he explained the situation to me. And he said, look, it's great and we love supporting you, but we need a way to bring it back into the shops. What can you come up with? So I mulled this over and I came back to him with a bag. And what we started out with was tote bags. What happens is after we go to the shop and we pick up the sacks, we bring them back to our studio and we unload the van. We have our wheelbarrow that we use to help carry them to where we need to use them. But we start with our base templates. We'll then place the template carefully and hold it in place. We'll cut it, and does take a bit of effort because some of the burlap is definitely thick and takes a bit of elbow grease to cut through. And then we'll go to the sewing machine and we'll sew the templates together after we cut the bits and pieces out that we need to make the bag or apron or whatever the project entails. So the sustainability behind Caffeina Crafts is that we were successful at turning a byproduct from the coffee industry and turning it into something that is functional and extends the life of a material that would have ended up in a landfill. This is providing opportunity for the shops for marketing and people to really get to experience a material that they might not have gotten to experience before.
For many college athletes, balancing a sport and academics can be a challenge. However, for Mahir Ahmed, a sophomore and academics major, the basketball season also overlaps with the holy month of Ramadan. During this month, Mahir fasts from sunrise to sunset. That means he's not able to eat or drink anything throughout the day until he breaks his fast when it's dark outside. Despite the added challenge, he continues to compete and practice while observing his faith. Here's a closer look at this holy month and how it shapes him.
Hi, my name is Mahir Ahmed, and I'm an economics major and a sophomore at Purchase College. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the holy month of Ramadan and what it means to many Muslims around the world. Ramadan is one of the most important months in Islam. It is a time when Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset, which means not eating or drinking during the day. But Ramadan is not only about fasting. It is really about self-discipline, reflection, and becoming closer to God. During this month, people focus more on prayer, reading the Quran, and doing deeds for others. For many people, Ramadan is also a stronger time for community and family. After the fast ends each day, people gather for a meal called iftar, where family, friends, and neighbors come together to eat and break their fast. Mosques and communities often host large gatherings where everyone is also welcome. Ramadan reminds people to be grateful for what they have and to think about those who may be struggling or in need. It encourages generosity, patience, and compassion. Even though fasting can be challenging, it is also a time that many people look forward to every year because of the sense of peace, reflection, and togetherness it brings. Playing basketball while fasting during Ramadan can be challenging, but also something that brings me a lot of peace. During the day, I go to classes, practice with the men's basketball team, and go through my normal routine without eating or drinking. At first, it can feel tough, especially during these intense workouts, but over time, it becomes something that strengthens my body and my mindset. Fasting reminds me to stay disciplined and patient, which are also really important qualities when you're playing sports. When I'm on the court though, during Ramadan, I actually feel very focused. Since I'm fasting, I try to stay calm, control my breathing, and play with more awareness. In a way, it helps me slow down mentally and appreciate the moment more. It becomes more than just basketball because it also feels spiritual. One of the best moments of the day is when the fast finally ends at sunset. I break my fast with water and dates and then enjoy my favorite food, which is rice and beans. After a long day of fasting and playing basketball, that first meal feels incredibly rewarding and comforting. After iftar, I usually just relax for about an hour with my family or friends, do things like play video games or even just sit and talk. But then later on in the night, I go to the mosque for Tarawih, which are special night prayers that only happen during Ramadan. Ending the day with prayer after everything else makes the whole experience feel peaceful and complete.
Not everyone is a mechanic, but the best way to learn how to solve a problem is by trying to solve the problem. Fixing an issue with a car yourself can save you hundreds of dollars. And when Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Robert Grella had issues with his car, he took help from someone who could help him learn how to solve the problem. His stepdad, Mark George. Mark isn't a mechanic, but he's learned how to fix a car by teaching himself how to solve the problem. Let's see how they tackled the repair.
Why are we working on the car?
Trying to take the rotor off because your brakes were all messed up.
And why do the brakes get messed up?
Age, rust.
And how did we try to fix it? What did we do?
Try to remove the rotor.
And how did you learn all this stuff?
By doing it.
And why were we unable to fix it?
Because it was rusted on and we couldn't get it off. We didn't have the right tools to get the part off. So rather than breaking it, we put it all back together and took it to a mechanic who did have the right tools because it needed to be heated. So to shrink the material, to break the rust free, we needed a bigger hammer.
And what were the steps, like step by step? What did we do to fix the car?
Well, you jack the car up, and then we had to put a jack stand under it for safety. Under here for a little bit safe, it's going to go 1, 2, 3. What we're going to do now is we're going to pump the jack up a little bit more so we can go one more click so this doesn't fall down. Okay, we're going to go one more so I can, there we go. Now I'm going to twist this jack down slowly so that is going to be resting on, there we go. The car is going to be resting on this and the jack. So now we got a little bit of safety so that car ain't going nowhere. Then you took the wheel off, you took 4 lug nuts off. Pop the wheel off. Jesus Christ, that's bad. Okay.
Maybe we should have paid the $400 for the professionals to do it.
Then you took the caliper off. Then you try to free the rotor. That's it. Now do the other 3. That's it. That's it. Oh, and to teach you to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we love getting our hands dirty.
You know, you have to, we're not going to be around forever. And you have to learn to do things like this.
Exactly. It's a learning experience.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's valuable for the students at Purchase to learn these things. Isn't that correct?
Well, the only way to do and learn about things is to do it. That's why you're in school, to learn how to do it.
This segment will cover Ricardo Vasquez. Vasquez is a junior year painting and drawing major. He's great with the pen and knows a lot about what makes it so rich in its history and design.
My name is Ricardo Vasquez, and I am a painting and drawing major at SUNY Purchase. And one of the things that really inspired me to pick up a pencil was just the creative outlet of just being able to put whatever I want on a piece of paper, and then eventually transferring that paper to a canvas, and then just doing a lot of cool things with that idea, using crayons, markers, whatever I was able to kind of get my hands on, being really influenced by just the things that I personally liked, such as, like, you know, comic books, anime, manga, but just as well as a lot of films and history. I find that those are just something that's really influential in the stories that I kind of want to tell in my artwork. But I find myself really enjoying just a lot of just learning and just studying, like getting to know other artists through learning more about how they worked. I think says a lot about just how you think as a person, and how you kind of decipher what these other people came before you. And it's kind of like almost like a generational torch being passed down. So one of the main things that really got me into drawing and the origins of drawing, I would say, was my love for graphic novels. The amount of time, effort, and as well as just history as well that really goes into these stories, I think is something that's very remarkable. And I think as well as just growing up, as well being Hispanic, I think telling and representing stories in history are extremely, extremely important. My family came from Chile, so they came from an era of dictatorship and censorship. So I think that comic books that are able to tell a story and a narrative the way that they want to do it, and in a way that is beneficial to not only their history, but giving injustice to the people that were so unfair in history's timeline, and I think giving those people a voice. And I think comic books are a beautiful medium to tell that format in, truly, as well as being able to tell cautionary tales of the future and sci-fi, and just being able to just have your own fun with it. It's really was what truly inspires me.
Broadcast Studios. We'll be back with you after this short break.
Welcome back to Purchase Broadcast Studios. Thanks for staying with us. Let's get back to more stories from the Purchase community.
Diving into a world of insight and perception through abstract and visual storytelling, sharing personal life experiences through verbal expression and connecting them with value and meaning. Poetry is a valued art, painting pictures not with brushes on a canvas, but with words. Crafting a form of imagery from the soul, connecting those open to hearing them. Poetry can unite and resonate with others, or guide and teach something valuable. They can even be written in a personal journal for someone to vent and speak freely without judgment. College student Nyreme Gomes tells her experience with indulging in the art of poetry.
I don't really consider myself to say that I'm a poet because I feel like I don't do it consistently enough for that. But my love for poetry has started since I was younger, and my first favorite poem that I ever read was Till I Rise by Maya Angelou. It inspired me so much the way that she was able to tell a story through words and emotions with also little to no words at all. A lot of my poems stem from real life experiences I've encountered, whether that's generational trauma or that heartbreak you had back in like 6th grade. I really just write about whatever I'm feeling in the moment. I don't really have times where I just, I'm gonna write today. It's kind of just spur of the moment feelings. Whenever something's on my mind and weighing heavy, I write about it and I turn it into poems. I recently had performed at a Culture Club's collab called ASA and Afro's Roots and Rhythm. I performed a poem called The Never Ending Spiral and Damage. Damage has been one of my fan favorite poems. It's about the generational trauma that we carry from our parents, that they carry from their parents. The way that the things that they tell us as we grow up can weigh on us even when they don't realize it. And it's something that I wrote back on my senior year of high school that I've just been tweaking and adding and removing for just about 2-3 years now. I will never say that that poem is finished. It will forever be unfinished because I feel like there's always something more I can say. For my poems, most of the time, a lot of my poems are unfinished because I always feel like the topic can never just be closed. There's always something new to say, a different perspective. I do have a couple of finished poems. They're a bit short. Typically, I write my poems in the comfort of my room or in a grassy area. Something about writing underneath a tree or just anywhere near grass feels very grounding. It's kind of just like a little heavy weight that's anchoring me down. I attempt to write a poem at least once. There's so many stories that can be told in poetry, whether it's about diversity in the world or a political topic or anything, honestly. Poetry is such a varied thing. You can always talk about something. And a lot of the times, poetry doesn't have to make sense, as long as you enjoy it.
Today, we're featuring Anthony Colarafi, a junior at Purchase College majoring in film and cinema studies. At just 20 years old, Anthony is already making waves by hosting his own show on the Purchase College radio station called Pixels and Panels. He chats about everything from music and gaming to movies and everyday college life, giving listeners a real glimpse of what he is all about. You can really hear his passion for media and storytelling in every episode. Let's check out more about Anthony and his radio journey.
What up, everyone? It's Anthony, and I am the host of WPSR's Pixels and Panels. So it was freshman year, second semester. I wanted to do something that I never done before, and that is radio. How I would describe Pixels and Panels to someone who never listens to the show is it's a talk radio show about comic books and video games, hence the term Pixels and Panels. how I prepared for the show was that throughout the week before the air date of the show, I go on Instagram, social media, YouTube, and look at news of video games getting announced. My favorite aspect of connecting to the audience through the radio show is that after I'm done for the day, I, think it's a good show and we got listeners. But what's funny is that throughout the week, people will go up to me or I'll walk or bump into them and they'll start talking about something that I said on the show, and sometimes they wouldn't say it. They would just be like, oh, hey, so your opinion on Robert Downey Jr., and I'm like, I don't remember saying that to you. They're like, well, no, you said it on air. And I'm like, oh, right, because people listen. One thing that I would change, if I could, is have a camera and make it more podcasty than radio. I see a lot of other colleges and their radio stations, and they actually have a camera that is faced towards the host. And so if I could change anything, I would add a camera so there would be a visual element to the show. So my favorite broadcast so far was one day my friend Caleb texted me in the middle of the show, we were live, and was like, yo, put me on. So he ended up calling me, and he was actually part of the show live. I just put my phone to the microphone when he spoke, and it was so fun. It was, one of those spur of the moment guests that we had. So my goals continuing the show is pretty much to do it every semester. After this one, I got 2 more semesters next year, senior year, and then I'm done. So just make every show count. And I don't know what I have planned for the final broadcast of Pixels and Panels. It's going to be a very sad day, I'll tell you. I'm not really looking forward to it, but when the day comes, it's going to be a special one. And that is an episode of Pixels and Panels.
Beginning a small business is often based on inspiration. For high school student Haziel, that idea turned into a growing chocolate-covered strawberry business. Making treats for friends and family quickly became something bigger. Haziel shares how she started her business, what inspires her creations, and what it takes to turn a simple dessert into something special.
My name is Haziel, and I am a sophomore at White Plains High School. I am a dancer, and I love doing theater. Since I don't have enough time to have a job due to all my activities, I decided to start a small business called Melted Sweets, where I make chocolate-covered strawberries. I've always enjoyed making sweets for the people I love, so I thought of this as a fun and easy way to make money while doing something I truly enjoy. The process starts by selecting strawberries and washing them carefully. Then I make sure to completely dry each strawberry so the chocolate sticks well. After that, I melt the chocolate. When I melt the chocolate, I add coconut oil. Then I let it sit until it reaches room temperature. Then I dip each strawberry by hand. When it comes to decorating, I base each one off the orders. Sometimes it's drizzles, toppings, or custom designs. Finally, I package each order carefully so it looks elegant and stays fresh. What makes Melted Sweets so special is the detail and love I put into each order. I want my customers to feel happy and excited when they open their boxes. In the future, I hope to expand my business, offer more dessert options, and to reach out to more people in my community.
Emily Palumba is a junior painting and drawing major at Purchase College. And guess what? She recently hosted an art show on campus called Clearance Sale. You can see her art displayed in the campus Starbucks. She's also the artist behind the Starbucks chalkboard that shows the new seasonal drinks.
My name's Em. I'm a painting and drawing major. I'm a junior, and I am super happy to be here. I am a transfer student, so I'm a little bit older than a typical junior here at Purchase. I'm 25. I make a lot of really colorful and vibrant stuff. I really primarily paint animals and fish. My favorites are like bug, fish, birds, anything like that. Yeah, so I had a show around 3 weeks ago. And the theme was called, Clearance Aisle, and we did a bunch of different pieces, some more abstract, some more figurative. I'm more of a figurative painter, so I did stuff on really, really beautiful, vibrant fish being on sale. Kind of like, if I had to go off of like what I'm seeing and what I thought about when I was making it, like how much produce and food is wasted every single year. Especially when it's perfectly good to eat. I mean, like I tried to make the fish look very, very nice. I love all of the colors I got in here. Like I would go to the store and see these fish and go, dang, those are some nice fish. And it's crazy because they're like half off, 50% off, 30% off. Crazy what people do. So kind of trying to make the product look more like it's an actual beautiful thing. And seeing the beauty within these fish that are ultimately thrown out. This is a piece in response to a painting by James Ensor. It was a prompt painting where you had to change something about it. This is kind of just an opposite flip of what happened, because in the original painting, this face was a skeleton and all the rest of the figures had masks on. So you couldn't really tell what was beneath them. Were they humans? Were they more skeletons? What was happening, you know? When I was younger, before I came to Purchase, I started working in marker instead of pencil, and it actually really helped my art. Since we're going off of the page here, I'm just gonna kind of improvise. It really helped my art because I didn't feel like I needed to be perfect, and having the inability to erase and try again kind of helped in that sense. And it really made it easier. And I've learned to like accept imperfections and actually embrace them. I like to paint things that don't make me think much. And by not thinking too much about things before you do it, you can have freedom in ways that you wouldn't have had before. I also draw people from life, and I try and get the proportions as best as I can, but I don't really have a method. My main goal is not for it to look intensely photorealistic, even though it might look quite realistic. My facial colors are completely off if you were trying to actually paint a human being. But once again, that's not the type of art that I make. I'm very much so someone who doesn't, I don't really care to make things that I don't want to make. My art. No, it's so great. I love my studio. I'm gonna be sad when I move out. We get it for a year if you take the class, but.
Purchase College's fencing program is one of its many hidden gems. Taught by Jared Kirby, Purchase students that take the offered class and join the club not only learn to fence, but have opportunities to participate in tournaments against many of the other fencers in the discipline. There was an organized tournament this past weekend in the Purchase College gym, where fencers from the Martinez Academy in the city came down to fence Purchase's own. All of this was organized and made possible by Quentin Q. McAlhennan, the president of Fencing Club and TA for many years to the class. Q has been fencing ever since he came to Purchase and has been actively involved in the club since, but has taken over as president just this past year.
My name is Q. I'm president of the SUNY Purchase Classical Fencing Club. We teach a number of classes here as well as have a club. In the classes and the club, we train fencing as a martial art. So we're learning it, how to defend ourselves, how to attack. It's not like the sport where whoever hits the person a millisecond faster is going to get the point. It really stresses the martial properties of protecting yourself while you offend as well. French foil fencing. This is a thrust-only weapon that was used in primarily France. There's different styles. There's Italian foil, and so on and so forth, but mostly French and Italian are the main schools. Here we only teach French foil, so again, that is a thrust-only weapon. It's very fun. We also teach Italian saber fencing, so that is a cut and thrust weapon. So instead of just thrusting, you're also getting those cuts in, and that one's fun too. Italian is definitely a little more harsh than French. French is very pretty and precise, whereas Italian is very get in there, cut the head, go home.
That's right, cut to the center, on guard, score is 2-1.
We have a tournament coming up on March 15th. It's the in-house public assault of arms, where we're going to have people from the academy in the city that also train in this art come and fence a bunch of SUNY fencers and compete so that we can get a better feel of what other people fence like. It's going to be fun, it's going to be cool.
Today, we'll be hearing from Purchase's own visual art students, Isabella Gallo, and their experience painting in the VA. You'll be able to marvel at some of their recent projects and have the opportunity to learn a little bit about one of Purchase's brightest students. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Isabella Gallo. I am a painting and drawing sophomore at SUNY Purchase. I paint. I've focused this semester mostly on figure painting, trying to think more imaginatively, but mostly just painting from life. Depending on what I'm painting, usually if I'm painting from life, I try to just jump straight into it. I try to focus on lines and shapes, seeing the contour of the body, seeing where things line up with each other, drawing a piece from my imagination, painting a piece from my imagination. I usually spend a day or two sketching it out, planning where everything goes, usually not too detailed, and then throw it on the canvas, see where the paint takes me, because working pencil and paint is so different, especially coming from a drawing background.
What kind of inspired you to get into visual arts?
I'd say probably my high school art teacher. He really pushed me to develop my skills and have a passion for what I do. He pushed me and all of my classmates to have a connection with the art that we're making and to care about the art that we make. This piece is an assignment for my figure painting class. The assignment was to experiment with bold colors, to experiment with, striking colors, being bold. But more specifically, I am trying to develop this piece to fit into my sophomore portfolio. Sophomore review coming up, and to have this piece evaluated by my professors and hopefully advance further on into the painting department.
Thanks so much for joining us here today at Purchase Broadcast Studios. I've been your host, Olivia Cruzon.
I've been your host, Patrick McGuigan.
And I've been your host, Sean O'Carroll. Tune in again next time to Purchase Broadcast Studios.